becomes Latasha Harlins, coming to the counter with what she was going to buy in one hand, money in the other. Altercation. Walks away, is shot in the back of the head.
Latasha Harlin is really hit home because my daughter was the same age as Latasha Harlin. Rodney King didn't touch me as much as Latasha Harlin because this girl was killed. She was a little teenage girl behind some orange juice. That could have been my child.
Up until Saturday morning, Son Jadu was a Korean grocer in Los Angeles. Now she's an alleged criminal facing a first-degree murder charge.
Well, at this time, she's looking at a maximum of 30 years to life.
According to witnesses and a security camera videotape, Harlins never tried to steal the juice. Instead, investigators say Du angrily confronted the girl and then shot her with a .38 caliber handgun.
I hope and I know that justice will serve itself and she will get what she deserved.
Son Jadu had no respect for that young woman. The way they beat Rodney King, okay? Her shooting Latasha Harlin, it's the same people, okay, that are being victimized.
The recommendation of the people was maximum state prison. I think that the death of Latasha deserved that. The court decided otherwise.
Mrs. Du is placed on formal probation for 5 years on the following terms and conditions. Mrs. Du is to perform 400 hours of community service.
Get the camera low! No camera, get the camera on my face!
The judge called for peace. He said,
how can you have peace when this is going on?
What? This woman killed a child? She killed a child and not getting any jail time? I haven't gotten over that, really.
Wake up, Los Angeles! Wake up! Let not her blood be in vain! Latasha was killed, our family was killed. Right. Racism is not the Korean killing her. Racism is the court system that allows her to kill her.
Chanting, "Carlin must go," angry protesters stormed through security checkpoints at the courthouse in Compton. They are still outraged over Judge Joyce Carlin's decision not to send Latasha Harlin's killer to jail. They are willing to go to jail to get their point across.
In the community, you go to jail for selling crack for 20 years, 20 and 30 years. How are you gonna kill somebody and get probation? What kind of sense does that make? What kind of justice is that?
39th and Dalton, then Rodney King, then Latasha Harlin.
Latasha Harlins, born July 14th of 1975 and transitioned on March 16th of 1991. She was a 15-year-old African-American girl who was fatally shot by Son Jadu, a 51-year-old Korean-born female convenience store owner. Du was tried and convicted of voluntary manslaughter in Harlin's death and sentenced to time served, 5 years of probation, 400 hours of community service, and $500 in restitution, and the funeral expenses. Some have cited the shooting of Latasha Harlins as one of the causes of the 1992 Los Angeles riots. Harlin's death came 13 days after the videotape beating of Rodney King. Early years. Latasha Harlins was born July 14th of 1975 in East St. Louis, Illinois, to Crystal Harlins and Sylvester Vester Akoff Sr. Latasha had a younger brother, Vester Akoff Jr., and a younger sister, Christina. The family moved from Illinois to South Central Los Angeles in 1981. When Latasha was 6 years old, her father took a job in a steel foundry while her mother worked as a waitress in a local tavern. They lived near 89th Street and Broadway, just a few blocks from where Latasha would be killed 10 years later. Akoff Sr. was known to be abusive towards Crystal Harlins, allegedly attacking her in front of Latasha and her siblings. Allegedly, both parents drank heavily and smoked crack cocaine. Their unstable marriage eventually ended in 1983. On November 27th of 1985, Crystal was brutally shot dead outside of a Los Angeles nightclub by Cora Mae Anderson, Akoff's new girlfriend, leaving Latasha and her siblings in the care of their maternal grandmother, Ruth Harlins. The death of her mother had a devastating impact on Latasha, who began to rebel and argue with her grandmother and Aunt Denise. Their relationship worsened further when Latasha, then 14, was groomed by a counselor at the local recreational center named Jerry Foster, who was between 29 and 32 years old. At the time of her death, Latasha was a student at Westchester High School. Soon Jadu's store, Empire Liquor, located in the intersection of 91st Street and Figueroa Avenue, was normally staffed by Du's husband and son. However, on the morning of the shooting, Du was working behind the counter and her husband was outside resting in the family van. Shortly before 10 a.m. on Saturday, March 16th, Harlins entered the store. Du observed Harlins putting a $1.79 bottle of orange juice in her backpack. Du concluded Harlins was attempting to steal and did not see the money Harlins held in her hand. Du claimed to have asked Harlins if she intended to pay for the orange juice, to which Du claimed Harlins responded, "What orange juice?" Two eyewitnesses disputed that claim, saying that Du called Harlins the B word and accused her of trying to steal, to which they claimed Harlins replied that she intended to pay for the orange juice. After speaking with the two eyewitnesses present and viewing the videotape of the incident, recorded by a store security camera, the police concluded that Harlins intended to pay for this beverage. The videotape showed that Du grabbed Harlins by her sweater and snatched her backpack. Harlins then struck Du with her fist twice, knocking Du to the ground. After Harlins backed away, Du threw a stool at her. Harlins then picked up the orange juice bottle that dropped during the scuffle. Du snatched the bottle from her, and Harlins turned to leave. Du reached under the counter, retrieved a revolver, and fired at Harlins from behind at a distance of about 3 feet. The gunshot struck Harlins in the back of the head, killing her instantly. Du's husband, Billy Hyung Ki-do, heard the gunshot and rushed into the store. After speaking to his wife, who asked for the whereabouts of Harlins before fainting, he dialed 911 to report an attempted holdup. Du testified on her own behalf, claiming that the shooting was in self-defense and that she believed her life was in danger. But her testimony was contradicted by the statements of the two eyewitnesses present at the time, as well as the security camera video, which showed Du shooting Harlins in the back of the head as the teenager turned away from Du and attempted to leave the store. The LAPD ballistics report also found that the handgun Du used was altered in such a way that it required much less pressure on the trigger to fire than an ordinary gun. On November 15th, 1991, a jury found that Du's decision to fire the gun was fully within her control and that she fired the gun voluntarily. The jury found Du guilty of voluntary manslaughter, an offense that carries a maximum prison sentence of 16 years. The jury recommended the maximum sentence for Du. However, the trial judge, Joyce Carlin, did not accept the jury's sentencing recommendation and instead sentenced Du to 5 years of probation, 400 hours of community service, and a $500 fine. Judge Carlin suggested that there were mitigating circumstances in Harlin's death. She stated, "Did Mrs. Du react inappropriately? Absolutely. But was that reaction understandable? I think it was," Carlin added. "This is not a time for revenge, and no matter what sentence this court imposes, Mrs. Du will be punished every day for the rest of her life." The court also stated that Du shot Harlins under extreme provocation and duress, and deemed it unlikely that Dew would ever commit a serious crime again. Furthermore, Harlin deemed that Dew's capacity to act rationally in the situation was undermined by her experience with past robberies. A state appeals court later unanimously upheld Judge Harlin's sentencing decision in April of 1992, a week before the riots. In July of 1992, the Harlins family was awarded $300,000 in a settlement. How can we forget this story? I can't. I'll never be able to forget this story. No, I wasn't born around the time of this incident. However, I do want the people in my age bracket and younger to know Latasha's story. May she rest in power. If you think about the racial disparities that we have faced as Black people, then you just gotta take these moments in history and teach your people, teach the younger people about these scenarios so that we can be aware and stop walking in the blind. This will forever be a day in history where we will remember Latasha and all that she has went through. Also, we need to take into account her family history as well and raise our children up in better upbringings. Hopefully this story has touched you and moved you in any way, shape, or form. Please like this video. Please share this video. And if you are around anyone younger and maybe doesn't know this story, let them hear her story. Also subscribe to LA Show for more.